All right, Mike, so with more on all of this, let's bring in Nile Gardiner. He is the Heritage Foundation's director of the Margaret Thatcher Center for Freedom. Nile, nice to have you.
Great to be here. Thanks very much, Arthur.
Okay, so President Trump in Japan with Prime Minister Shinzo Abe. As to be expected, Kim Jong-un test fires off a missile into the Sea of Japan. A big deal to Japan. However, President Trump in Japan saying, listen, the weapons test is not really a big deal. Kim Jong-un and I will work this out in the end, perhaps through a third summit. Nile, I mean, you know, Kim Jong-un knows that time is running out, potentially if President Trump is not reelected. Still, he's saying this week that he's not open to further talks until the U.S. changes its position on nuclear armament or disarmament. So, I mean, is President Trump reading this right, and Kim Jong-un will agree to denuclearization?
Well, firstly, I have to say that the North Korean missile tests, they are a big deal, and they are a direct threat to South Korea and also to Japan as well. And the Japanese Prime Minister was absolutely right to say that this was an extremely aggressive action by the North Koreans. And also the National Security Advisor, John Bolton, pointed out just a couple of days ago that these tests are extremely dangerous provocations. And I think it's very important the Trump administration sends one united message to North Korea that these kinds of tests are absolutely unacceptable. They're a violation of UN Security Council resolutions. And the North Korean regime has to abide by these resolutions. I have to say that so far North Korea has shown no evidence whatsoever that they are prepared to denuclearize. And I think that the aggressive actions taken by the North Korean regime in recent days and recent weeks, this has to be strongly condemned by the United States. And we do have to see the sanctions that are in place against Pyongyang applied very, very aggressively by Washington at this time.
So then what more should President Trump do?
Well, I think firstly, we need to see the US sanctions already in place actually implemented fully. That includes sanctions against Chinese entities that are doing business with North Korea. I think secondly, we need to see the reinstatement of allied military exercises between the United States and South Korea that have been postponed in recent months. We need to see a reversal of that and those exercises put back in place. We do need to really have a policy of maximum pressure applied against North Korea. And we also, I think, need to see tremendous pressure applied on North Korea over its abysmal, disgraceful and appalling human rights record. And US pressure on this is really important.
Yeah, and the president can't keep playing footsie via Twitter with Kim Jong-un. Let's go to trade between the U.S. and Japan. What will become of that?
Well, I think the president has made it clear that he's postponing the implementation of tariffs against Japan. That's clearly the right move here. There's no interest, I think, on the U.S. side to apply tariffs against Japan, a very close U.S. ally. And I think that at the end of the day, the tariffs really are taxes upon American workers, and also they raise prices for U.S. consumers. So tariffs against a very close U.S. ally, I think, are extremely counterproductive. So hopefully an agreement will be reached on both sides whereby tariffs are thrown out of the window altogether for both countries. And I think that, the greater the level of economic freedom, the greater the level of free trade between the United States and Japan, the better, really.
Great.